Nintendo Switch. We know nearly
The big
everything.
one.
Well, that's what some people will say. We know nearly everything.
We know enough.
Do we?
Wow.
Is enough enough? I didn't get up at 4 o'clock and watch that on Friday.
No, I don't think many people did, to be honest. As much
Nah.
as I wanted to, because I was quite looking forward to the big reveal and what was going to be included. It's difficult to
Justify
warrant
that.
staying up. Yeah, exactly. Just for what is in reality not very much being said.
No, I set my alarm and then it went off, and I turned it straight off and went back to bed.
Yeah.
I still slept poorly after that, so it didn't work out, but it was awful. So I caught up in the morning, and the reason we was planning to do this on the Friday and record exactly what happened. And we decided to play Borderlands 2, and then did we play Destiny? I can't remember. Yeah, we did.
Probably.
Did some raiding, didn't we?
Sapped our lives away, that game has.
Yeah, that has. And also, as time went on, I realised that there was still a lot of stuff that people didn't know.
There's still a lot of questions, weren't there?
Because the presentation didn't tell everyone everything, and we'll get on to whether that was any good or not, but it gave away the main bits, but then there was still people's questions afterwards and how things were priced, and even in the EU and UK territories, there was no official guideline for price on the presentation. It just said $300 in the US.
Yeah.
And I think it may have pulled one other territory. Oh, Japanese, obviously.
Yeah.
And then just said check your local retailers.
Thanks very much.
I was like, well, thanks for that. But we can talk about that now. That's probably one of the first things that they revealed about this was the price of the console. So we didn't find out what ours was until later on that morning, and it's come out in the UK, 279.99 UK pounds, 280 for most people. Nothing bundled in with it.
No bundles on offer at all.
No.
Literally just straight console with your two Joy-Cons and the screen. So
yeah, it's a bit odd.
I mean, certainly the immediate reaction from a lot of the Dimp guys was that is more than we were anticipating. I think it's fair to say.
We spoke about the leaks, didn't we, or the rumours? So not even the leaks.
Yeah.
About it being. I mean, GameSeek had it up on pre-order for £198, so they were obviously
seemingly they've had to honour it.
They are fulfilling them. They had every right to cancel, but they said no, we will fulfil them. So I mean, good on them. I don't know how long it would take them to get. I think over 1,000, just under 1,000 people ordered on that.
Seems crazy to honour that.
Yeah, I mean, it's giving them good publicity at least. But
fair play to them.
Someone up there has had their feet right up on the desk to let that occur. The rumours were one was there's going to be two versions of it. One was 200, one would be 250. There's a premium version, and none of that was true. It was it's $300, which normally in
Would
UK
be
money
250 probably, maybe a bit less even.
I don't think that's necessarily Nintendo's fault because, as we know, the pound's in the shitter. I think this is part of that. I think the £30 is part of that. That whole translation of currency, and it's frustrating they didn't give the guidance like when the PlayStation 4 Pro was announced. Sony went out of their way to say EU and UK, these are your prices, and it wasn't actually affected at that time by the slump. But maybe Nintendo thought, nah, fuck that, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, it was an odd one. I think, like I say, it seems to have struggled because so many people seem to have 250 in their heads. It was kind of 250 was the mark that we were all anticipating, and then the press conference was $299, and everyone pretty much still thought, okay, so that's 250. And then when it came out at 280, like I say, certainly within the Dimp guys, the immediate reaction was, why is it so unreasonably priced? And in reality, 280 is not that expensive. It's 30 quid more than we were anticipating.
Yeah.
It's cheaper than, I know this is a sore point with again that a lot of people are wondering whether to compare.
It has caused absolute rows, this has.
But it is cheaper than the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 were at release.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, it might not have the sort of the power that those two perhaps did, but still, certainly from my eyes, and I know from a few of the other guys, that is the obvious comparison to make between those and the Switch. Yeah. So I don't know. It is expensive. Well, no, it's not that expensive.
No.
It's more than I was anticipating, but it's not
Silly.
so much more than I was anticipating that it's going to put me off purchasing it.
Yeah.
The thing that is going to put me off purchasing it if I don't is the price of the accessories, which I think is far more of a surprise to me than the cost of the actual console itself. I don't know whether you felt the same about it, but
yeah, certainly. I mean, I was on the website, the Nintendo website earlier, just looking at how much the accessories and whatnot were costing, and to replace your Joy-Con, so left and right, is £70. Like
that seems
just for those.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's quite a fair. But you don't need to do that. Hopefully, they've got some. They're robust enough. But
if you want to play with friends, yes, okay,
bring your
you
own.
can do.
Bring your fucking own if you're coming around it.
Basically, it is bring your own. And the thing is, I mean, I don't know whether they've announced that they're not motion controlled.
Well, they have got motion controls.
They've semi hinted at it.
There's motion. There's gyro in it, and I don't know if it works as well as say the Wii U nunchuck, but it's there in some form. So
it feels. I mean, they're advertised at 43 each, I think it is, or 70 for the pair.
Yeah,
and that is a lot of money for what they are, and the Pro Grip as well, or like even a Pro controller rather, I should say.
Yeah,
£65.
Yeah, on the store. Yeah, so £60 the Pro controller is, and in retailers it's 65, 70, depending on whatever they want to charge.
Seems like like when you look at a standard Xbox One or PlayStation 4 controller, what 40 maybe?
Yeah,
maybe 45 at some of the more expensive retailers like your major game outlets. But it's a lot of money for it when they're it's another one of these Nintendo consoles that's come out that is a party console primarily. Like, I know this is obviously, it's got the handheld side of things, which you could say is it's a mix between the two. But you look at Nintendo's past few consoles, like it started at the 64 really, which had the 4 controller ports obviously. So the big selling point for it was you can play with 3 friends.
That's it, yeah.
And they've carried that on with then the GameCube and the Nintendo Wii and the Wii U. They've always been the kind of party consoles, whereas the Xbox and the PlayStation have been the online consoles. These are more you have friends over and play together. And then with this one, they've made it so expensive to do that. It is, as you said, it's bring your own. If you haven't got a friend with Switch, you're not playing with 4 people.
No, you're playing with 2 with one little small control each.
2 with a little shitty. Yeah, exactly. I don't know how big they are, because obviously I haven't.
They look tiny,
but they look minuscule. And for those with especially those of us that are used to a decent sized controller, I feel like it's going to be tough to have only one of them to use rather, or sharing 2 of them.
Yeah.
So
it is the everything on top. I've just done an order, like a basket order on Nintendo's website at the UK store, and I've put the Switch in there, grey one, not the blue and red one. Not interested. Looks crap. I don't know. Look at it. It looks weird. It's grey and then blue and red on the side.
It's an odd choice.
If you dock that on either side, you have this grey little box and then 2 red things and blue things sticking out. That's the way to charge them as well.
I suppose it's to differentiate which one's left and which one's right, but make them the same colour and then make the dock like if it was all red with the dock and both controllers, or all blue, I could understand people saying, "All right, it's a bit different." But one of each, it's an odd style choice to say the very least. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, so the basket I've just put in comes with Nintendo Switch, grey one, Zelda Breath of the Wild, and a Pro controller.
Okay.
£400. I don't think that's an unrealistic want for people either.
No, I was going to say, I feel like that's a relatively standard setup.
Yeah.
Because
that Joy Grip, I've got no faith in being any good or comfortable. The thing that comes with it to slot the Joy-Cons in, like to play with that as like a makeshift controller, that to me doesn't look like I want to sit and play 30 hours of Zelda with that. I want to have a controller.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of the Wii U gamepad itself, like the big black gamepad, just obviously with the sides being detachable. Yeah. And whilst it was okay, it's definitely, like you say, it's not designed to be a 30, 40, 50 hour gameplay pad, in my opinion. No. I know that obviously the Switch is designed for on-the-go use, so the thing with that is that obviously you're taking a screen with you. But I feel like if you want to play it at home, hooked up to your big screen, you're probably going to be looking at investing into a pro controller.
I certainly think so.
Then starts to mount up quickly. 400 for a console with one game.
Yeah, that's without if you want to take it on the go, it's without a carrying case of anything. You're not going to want to just sling that in your bag. You want to have a case for that. Really, that's going to be another £20-30. I couldn't find anything on the site, but I know that Game and other places.
Yeah, they're like 25-30.
Yeah, it will mount up if you actually want to take this thing on the go.
Yeah. Well, I remember I bought the Wii on release day one, and I remember buying that. So I had the Wii, 3 games, and an extra controller.
Yeah.
And an extra nunchuck, and that was I think about 440, and that was with 3 games plus 2 controllers essentially.
Yeah.
So it's it's difficult to say whether it's, I know it's obviously a more powerful console. We are 10 years on, 12 years on, whatever it is. When did the Wii come out? 2006,
something
maybe.
Like that,
yeah. So we're looking 10 years on. So obviously prices have increased anyway, but like I say, for one game, it's a big investment.
The thing going back to just looking at Zelda, that is, and we'll hit this definitely, but on the Wii U, it's £40. On the Switch, it's 60. You just think,
where's that? It's cartridges, isn't it? Though this is the thing. They've gone back to cartridges, and this was the problem with the N64 when it.
They're always fucking expensive.
The N64, like first few games that came out for it were retailing at $59.99, and people were saying what the bloody hell's going on. But it's because cartridges are more robust, they fit more on them, and they're more expensive. Yeah. They're more expensive to manufacture a cartridge than it is to do a disc. So. That is something that Nintendo are going to have to address, because people aren't going to. I mean, the thing is, at the minute as well, with the games that have been announced, which I no doubt will come on to, but Zelda is the big hitter. Let's be honest. Zelda is the release game. I'd say that probably 95% of people that buy a Switch day one are going to be buying it with Zelda. Mm-hmm. And I think people might be willing to pay 60 for Zelda, but there is no way in hell that anyone's going to be paying 60 for a third-party cross-platform game. I'm not paying 60 quid for FIFA on it, or for NBA 2K17 or whatever. I'm not paying 60 quid for that. Exactly. When in reality, it's probably a slightly toned-down version of the one that I can get on Xbox One or PlayStation, regardless of the fact that I can play it on the move.
Yeah. That is a stinger. One thing we didn't mention was the release date, March the 3rd, like right at the beginning of March. So it's weeks away. I was expecting to be the back end of March, but
it snuck up quickly, for sure. Yeah. Doesn't give people a lot of time to save.
Well, no, it doesn't. That is a bit of a disaster, really. But I think all things considered, I mean, the price is definitely something that's caused the most noise, and rightly or wrongly so. I think it's okay for what it is, but to not bundle in something like at least like that 1-2 Switch game which was demoed about using. That's basically the Wii Sports or Nintendo Verse or Nintendo Land that they released back in the day. That's the game that uses all the little gimmicks and stuff they put onto the Joy-Cons, and you play it. And typically those games are bundled in. In this case, there's £40 extra, so you don't. That's not even there day one for you. And I just think that's a little bit of an oversight. Because those games typically, although they're not the best, they do well. Well, I mean, all the cool bits of stuff.
Yeah, Wii Sports was great for what it was when the Wii came out, because the Wii was something so new and so sort of innovative. It wasn't something that had been done before, and Wii Sports kind of highlighted what it was about. That you didn't need to use the nunchuck and the Wiimote, and like you say, it feels like not bundling in just something simple, just something to tide people over, so that people who are sort of tossing up whether to buy the console or not can buy the console without a game day one if they wanted to, and have something to play on it. Because like you say, when you're looking at Zelda being another 60, so you're looking at 340 minimum.
That's it. That's
a lot of money.
That is a lot of money. So that's the price and the release date. Can move off of that. Now, there's a few things that they wasted a lot of time during the presentation just going through what the Switch did, and I was like, well, you know what it did.
We know,
You've done a trailer for us, and we all got really excited about it, and now you're wasting time going back through what we already know. So I'm going to bin that. There's no point talking about it. We know what it does. It's got a touch panel on there. It supports local multiplayer. I think you can link up to 8 together, which is quite cool. But then everyone's got to have their own system. I don't know if I'm going to know 8 people that are going to have this.
Hard enough getting fucking 4 people together online, let alone getting 8 people together in real life. So
it is madness. No region lock-in. So for those that enjoy the Japanese games, that's a good point for them.
It's a bonus.
Finally done that. I mean, everyone's going, "Oh, well done." I was like, "Well, it's
about fucking time."
Yeah, it is about time, really. One thing they kind of snuck in there and didn't really talk too much about in depth, and there's probably an obvious reason why, is that there's going to be an online service there, so that will be running. You will use your smartphone app or a smart device, they said, to create parties, do the invites. And then you can have conversations, have your chats, have your parties. And it's run through a connected device of sorts. And they said it's free for a trial period.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then after that, it'd be a chargeable service.
That to me is just like
it's got
alarm bells going off, because
it's got to be good if they're going to charge for that.
I mean, yeah.
Why has it got to go through a smart device? I hope that's.
Are they going to tie it in? Because obviously, we know that Nintendo is investing in mobile. We've had Mario Run, we've got Pokemon Go, we've got Miitomo. You know, they obviously are. That's their market that they're kind of looking at, and you know, the Switch is a mobile device. It's a device for on the go. Do you want an app that controls party invites and voice chat and everything? No, you don't. One of the biggest qualms that a lot of people had with the Xbox One when it first came out was that the interface was shit for party invites. For the party system itself wasn't very good, and it's something that Microsoft had to address with that. Nintendo have obviously said, right, we'll just cut that out completely, but I just feel like it's an unnecessary complication. You're forcing people. Like, I don't have my phone on me all the time.
I'm usually
on charge in the other room.
When I'm on a game, it's on charge away because I haven't got to deal with it because I'm doing something else.
I don't want to be distracted whilst I'm playing. I don't want to be faffing around. I can't stand when people are constantly faffing on their phones when they're trying to play a game. You know, that is a really, really odd one. I mean, we haven't seen. I know there's a headphone port or socket on the Switch itself. Does it come with a microphone for party chat?
Don't think it does. I
think
the
microphone built into the unit. Or are they going down the line of you have to have your phone as your party device? So it's almost like a Skype call. You might as well just fucking Skype call people. Yeah. You know? I'm not a huge fan of the idea, if I'm completely honest.
No, I'm not a fan of them charging for it either when they've been notoriously poor in the past with their online offerings, and it just seems like it seems like, well, Sony and Microsoft do it. That's a bit of extra cash. We'll do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. That's a bit of a downer. And I've got the PlayStation app on this and the Xbox app. And I've tried to use it to organise things, and it ain't worth it. It's not worth the hassle of me getting out my phone going, where's Mr. Hall?
Yeah. Because the thing is, I find as well. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I used to use the Xbox app quite a bit when I used to have my Xbox in my main living room, and then I'd have the Skybox running through my Xbox. So I could use my phone to control the Sky, change channels and whatever else. But every time you open the app, it's then got to sync to the Xbox, which takes not long, but it's still 10 seconds where I could just fucking pick up the remote and do it. Then on top of that, it actually turned out to be more of a hassle because, if I turned off my Xbox, it automatically turned off the Skybox. And every time I turn my telly on, it would automatically turn on the Skybox and the Xbox. So I've ended up disconnecting it because it was more hassle than it was worth. It's just that it comes down to it just being another level of hassle. I'd rather just go. If I've turned on the console already, I've got
give me the UI on the console to do it.
I've got the remote in my hand. It's no extra hassle for me just to click a home button and go to party, invite X people. I don't need it on my phone. I don't need to be able to cut out what seemingly a step, which in reality it doesn't.
Yeah, no, I'm in agreement with that. Battery life on the actual handheld itself, says between 2 to 6 hours. I mean, it's a massive, big...
What a discrepancy.
Yeah, there's a lot of room for error there.
You don't use it 6 hours.
If you don't turn, if you leave it on,
yeah.
it will last for 6 hours. They said Zelda, you're about to get about 3 hours of playtime out. I don't know. It's enough that'll be enough for me just about on like a daily commute. But I don't know if people expected or wanted more out of that. Don't know. That's a big discrepancy. And say 3 hours of Zelda. I don't know. It seems fair considering it's a big game. But
I mean, what was your? You've used the 3DS quite a bit, as have I. How did you find the battery life on that?
It felt okay, but I used to manage it really well. I'd make sure it's charged and I'd actively manage it. It's the same as going to have to be done here, I think.
I think that's just it, because I did exactly the same. I never really had a problem with my 3DS. If I was going on a train journey to and from work, or getting the tube somewhere and I was taking it with me, I would plug in before I went, make sure it was fully charged, travel, and then I'd charge it at work, for example, or something. Because even if it wasn't empty, I'd just make sure that I knew. And I feel like, well, hopefully there'll be some way of charging it away from the dock. I hope that the only way of charging is not by slotting it back into the dock.
Pretty sure there's
there must be
something, yeah. And
so
I'd like them to have like what you get for a phone. It'd be really cool if they had like a travel charge. You can get those little sockets that you charge up
like
separately.
An additional.
And when you're out, you just bang it in. It gives you another 50%. That would be really useful somewhere down the line.
Just be super helpful. Yeah. I don't feel like I don't see myself playing it for longer than 2 hours on the go. Yeah. So I'm hoping it's not going to be a huge impact. But that said, maybe people were, once again, maybe people's expectations were just a little bit greater than that. And I think that might be slightly unrealistic on the behalf of the consumer. But, it doesn't matter what you say. They could have come out and said, unless they said something ludicrous like 20 hours, people were always going to go, oh, it's not really long enough.
Yeah, so it's always going to be the case. They talked about the Joy-Cons. They showed HD Rumble, which is apparently, even from the hands-on, they're saying is really quite a nice bit of tech in the Joy-Cons that you can feel. It's got like a whole new kind of its own feeling on it. So you can, there's a game where you've got to count how many balls are in there by moving it back and forth, and you can feel the tingling or the bumps in them. And there's that stupid fucking other game. I don't know if you saw that. And they traded that. It's called Milk, I think. And the people, the hands-on, they were saying as you pull it down, you can feel almost like a liquid coming through. So there's a nice bit of tech in there. I don't think it's going to necessarily get used, but it all comes down to the games, isn't it? I mean, you're not going to sit there playing Milk all the time. And speaking of the games, on March the 3rd, there will be 5 games out. There'll be The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, 1-2 Switch, Super Bomberman R, Skylanders Imaginers, and Just Dance 2017. 3 more come out in March later on. Snipper Clippers, Fast RMX, Has Been Heroes, Mario Kart Deluxe is 28th of April. Then spring you get that ARMS and Rhyme and a few other bits, and then summer's Splatoon, and then finally we get a look at Super Mario Odyssey, which is back in latter
Christmas part of the year.
Yeah, is that enough? It's enough for me because I've got other consoles to play on. But if this was the sole platform, I'd be like, what on earth?
Yeah, I think that's in the easy way of saying it is that enough? No. Yeah. Because realistically, Skylanders
5 games.
Skylanders, no one it's got its obvious audience, and it's not of people of mine or your age. That's just a fact, isn't it? It's a kid's game. Just Dance.
I thought that died, that franchise. I can't believe it's coming
exactly.
out.
Realistically, out of the initial 5 games, as we said, we got 1-2 Switch, which is more of a highlight of the console.
If you have to pay for it, I'd play it. But in fact, they want
and what it's capable of. But you're never paying £40 for it.
No,
you've basically got.
It's absurd.
You've got Breath of the Wild at release.
Yeah.
And then, realistically, you're having to wait until April 27th or 28th or whatever it is for Mario Kart Deluxe, which is your next sort of proper release in my eyes. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh there on some of the other games, but I think most people would be in the same boat as me.
Yeah.
And like you say, I mean, for myself, obviously, I've got an Xbox One, I've got a PlayStation 4,
and a Wii U,
and I've got a Wii U, I'm going to be looking at this as an additional console. This is not
Yeah.
my primary console.
Couldn't be.
There is no way in hell that I'd be buying this as a primary console at release with one game, regardless of how good that game looks, because I think Zelda looks phenomenally good. I do think it's one that could easily sat me for 40, 50, 60 hours. I'm not buying it for that one game as my primary console. It's just not going to happen. It can't happen because there's just not enough there to keep you entertained, especially not for maybe for a casual gamer, but not for people like yourself and I. But then I suppose a lot of people who aren't casual gamers will probably already have one of the next gen consoles. So swings and roundabouts really, but in my eyes I am slightly disappointed at what's on offer at release, especially given what they've teased in
that big list of developers.
Exactly, they gave
80 of them.
Screen of like 80 odd developers, and there were some big names on there, some good names on there. They've been going on about how they've got Skyrim coming across, and like they've been teasing the Mario Kart Deluxe. There has been mention of these games in the past, and then you've come and they've gone, oh yeah, release 5 games, and in reality 1 game.
That is pretty poor show there. That probably covers all of the main bits that probably have come out, and even since the weekend. There's lots of other details we could delve into, but we'll be splitting hairs. Now, all the main kind of touch points there, we have seemingly reacted quite negatively towards it. I don't think we've actually had much positive things to say, and part of that for me is because I really, really thought they would knock this out the park, and it would transcend. It would be a big success. And as soon as it started, I saw the presentation, I thought, oh my god, it's actually not gonna.
It's alarm bells again, isn't it?
It's not going to appeal to the wider market they need, and all the people that hate them or dislike them have got a Xbox One or PS4 are now laughing. They think, well, that's exactly.
Yeah, they've been vindicated in their opinion of them. Yeah,
I feel like they've bungled it slightly with what they've produced.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the biggest Nintendo fan in the world. I've had you take yourself. You've never owned a Nintendo console.
No,
and then
I've owned not after this.
Yeah, exactly. I've owned every single Nintendo console there's ever been. I love Nintendo. I once again, when we do have these arguments within Dimp, it always comes out that I get called the Nintendo fanboy. I'm the one that's defending them. I'm the one that's saying all the good things about them and trying to fight the losing battle, to be honest, because it's getting very, very difficult to defend them based on some of the business decisions that they're making.
Yeah.
And
it's annoying because all of the every hands-on I've seen or read, once they got their hands on it, they're really positive about it. But it's all the other shit outside of it.
It's the build-up and the way that they approach it, and they don't do themselves any favors. They just have a habit of, they want to be for the gamers, and there's obviously
games.
There's people at the very top level within Nintendo who are obviously gamers themselves, and have always, like Iwata and Miyamoto and all the other big names who've always been up there, and yet their business model seems to be very much geared towards them making profit, which I understand. They've got to make profit as a company. It'd be ludicrous not to. But if they could just mask it a little bit better, it would probably keep people a lot happier.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's going to be a great little console, but it's just all the baggage is back again. You just think, oh, God's sake. I mean, it comes down to. I mean, I'm in a very unique position. I don't own the Wii U.
No.
So I haven't got the argument, I could just play Zelda on that. I could just play Mario Kart on that. I've got Splatoon 1. Is Splatoon 2 going to be a big enough thing? I'll wait till Mario comes out and see what that's like.
Yeah.
I haven't got that argument. I can play all those games and experience them all for the first time. I've played them around mates, but have them myself for the first time. So it's got that appeal for me.
Yeah.
And the real added factor is that I'll have that store credit built up at game that will pay for this and some extras as well, so I won't have to actually outlay any cash for me. So in my opinion, really, the fact that the only thing I can say is that on Thursday, as I was going to bed, I thought, it's going to be nice to get up tomorrow, watch the presentation, walk down to game, slap a pre-order down and walk out. I watched the presentation and I still haven't gone down there to do it because I just didn't. I lost momentum on it.
Are you going to get the console day one?
If there's still some there, I will, I think. But only because I'm in that situation. If I had to pay the money and I had
You had to outlay for it.
either of those, if I had a Wii U or if I had to pay the money, I wouldn't. But I don't.
So
But I
you
still
probably
was
will. But you've
hesitating. I
still got
will.
reservations.
Yeah, exactly. Even though it's not really going to be any skin off my nose, other than me having to walk into a shop and go, "Can I have that, please?"
Yeah.
I still have hesitations about it, but I'm more interested about your one. You've got a Wii U, and seemingly the one game that's coming out on the launch, as we've discussed,
It's available already for me if I wanted it. Yeah.
for
It's
£20 less, and it doesn't look like it's 10 times better on the Switch. It's not like a massive jump. It is what it is. It's been ported up. Runs a little bit better, probably longer draw distances, resolution, that sort of thing.
yeah. It's
Is it tough for you?
certainly a tough sell, and it's difficult to justify it as a purchase if I do go out and get one. I mean, I will get a Switch, whether it
Yeah.
be day one or somewhere further down the line. I will get a Switch. It will happen purely because like I say, I do like the Nintendo consoles. I do play them a lot, but I won't buy Zelda on the Wii U. That won't
Right.
happen.
Okay.
I'm not going to buy a version of the console that's slightly lesser. If you get even if
I
it
know what you
is
mean.
just draw distances,
It's still
or
an aggravation.
yeah, it still just feels like I'm buying something that's out of date, and I'm not going to do that, irregardless. But it definitely does weigh on your mind a little bit. Just the thought of, like I say, it's why it's making it that I haven't pre-ordered one. When not long ago, I was very much a day one pre-order.
So
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna like if it comes down to it, I'll queue up like I did for the
Yeah,
Wii.
midnight jobby.
Yeah, midnight queue up. But now it's definitely I'm more leaning towards a let the initial because I think it will sell out.
Yeah, I think
Despite
they seem like
despite
they're going. Yeah.
a lot of people are saying no more pre-orders. A lot of big games companies, especially in the States.
Yeah, Amazon and GameStop in the States are
Yes.
sold out. Game are
Like
taking orders, but they're not guaranteeing you'll get it day one. So their allocation,
exactly.
they probably don't know. They're just trying to
I
get
think
people through the
everyone's
door.
kind of guessworking to a certain degree, and I'm probably not going to pre-order. I'll probably make a decision when it comes out.
And if it's sold out, it makes a choice for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if it does sell out, then I'll probably wait for the second allocation of consoles to come out and about,
Yeah.
which will probably be hopefully mid to late April time.
Yeah.
When I've got that Mario Kart
To look
there
forward to.
ready and waiting. Hopefully some bundle deals will have come in by that point, because this is the other factor that I want to buy it in a bundle if I can.
I know,
I
same
feel
here.
like I'm at least getting something out of it. Feel like I'm getting some kind of deal
Yeah.
rather than
300
just,
with a game, and it's just like done.
it would have been like if it was 300 with Zelda,
That
it would have been it would have been a pre-order. Even if it was 320 with Zelda,
You
it
feel like you're
probably
getting
would
something. Yeah.
feel like I'm getting something out of it. Whereas now it's 340,
Yeah.
and it's a difficult. It is. I just don't think I could do it initially.
No.
I've got to wait for probably second allocation of consoles, or at least until a biggish announcement or
Yeah.
based on reviews and bits and pieces. Because this is the other problem is, during the draft that we did last year, I was saying, oh, Nintendo stuff always reviews well. Games always get a little bit of a bonus mark for being a Nintendo. And you look at like the top 10 games, on GameRankings.com.
Yeah.
And I think out of the top 10, like something like 7 of them are Nintendo games.
Yeah.
It's all the old classics and a lot of the big ones from like years gone by. And last year, I put my faith in Nintendo, and everything reviewed absolutely dreadfully. I mean, Nintendo didn't have a good game that came out last year.
No, they'd already given up then.
That's what makes concerned.
That's what makes the whole lack of games from launch really surprising. In fact, we know they haven't been pumping out games on the Wii U. They've been off doing other things, the development teams, and yet it's come out, it's come to March, and still there's 5 games, one
Nothing.
real good one. We hope. I just feel like they could have done with just waiting till to Christmas time. And then you could have gone out with Zelda and Mario as your big hitters, plus all the other stuff, the Splatoons, that's already, Mario Deluxe, the port of Skyrim maybe, the FIFA if that comes to that. That's already, and then there's a lot more choice for people.
Could have had a big list of games, yeah. And it's just, unless, like I say, again, the other thing that I just like at release, I'd like the Switch to be released to get. I don't care if it's an amazing reception or a lukewarm reception. I just don't want it to be a hugely negative. And I want Zelda to come out and to fucking smash it out the ballpark like a Zelda game should do.
Yeah. Because
every Zelda up till now, there's been very, very, very few poor games with the Zelda that are part of the Zelda franchise.
I mean, any of them are poor. It's just
no.
Some people prefer others over
this
them. But
needs to absolutely smash it because Nintendo are struggling. There's no two ways about it. The games that they've been releasing have been subpar by their own standards, and they need the Switch to be a success, and they need Zelda to be a big hit so that people see the reviews and go, right, okay, there is only one game, but at least it's a fucking amazing game, you know?
Yeah. Let's hope it is. I mean, we've not seen any dungeons in that yet. I hope they've got them in there. They better not go, it's open world. There's only these shrines.
That's what I mean. I can't tell anymore because this game should have been out, in my eyes, a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
I should be playing it on the Wii U right now. Yeah. It aggravates me that there was no Zelda game on the Wii U.
Yeah.
You know, we've skipped a whole generation of consoles on this franchise, and it's one of their banker franchises.
Yeah, it didn't have its own game, did it?
No.
Well, look, I think we've talked enough. It's more negative than I thought. I felt like we would.
Disappointing.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Because the expectation I had was that they're going to smash this, and they didn't, and it put hesitation in my mind. But it is what it is at the moment, and I'm sure the pre-order allocation will sell out. I think they said there's 2 million worldwide in circulation, so they will all go, I should imagine.
Absolutely.
Long before. I was speaking to Mr. Salmon. He pre-ordered it, cancelled it, pre-ordered it. Yeah, he pre-ordered it after the reveal, cancelled it, pre-ordered it. I said, "Are you going to keep it?" He said, "I don't know yet." It's a bit of a crapshoot, but we'll see. E3 will be very interesting. That will be telling for me as what Nintendo have got post. Probably it's going to be post 2017. We're going to have a big. It can't have just Mario there. They need to go right. Mario's this year, but next year
they
also
can't.
There's this, and there's a new Metroid coming. There's this coming. Do you know what I mean? That's going to be telling for me. If that is thin on the ground at E3, I'll be a little bit worried.
Well, I mean, it also makes me realise why they only at E3 last year they did nothing but Zelda.
Yeah,
and it's because they had nothing else. They've got
that is it. Yeah,
clearly they've got nothing else, and people were saying that at the time. You know, that was the worry at the time, and I I stepped in and defended and said, no, they've got other things. They're just showing off the best of the best.
Yeah.
And clearly they haven't. No. Clearly they haven't got anything else, which is a frightening. You know, at that stage of development, they had nothing else to show off.
Yeah.
You know, and then look at release. So yeah, like you say, E3 2017, they've got to smash it out the park. They've got to come in with their big names, and they've got to prove that they've still got it.
Yeah. Hope they do.
So,
hope they do.
There you go.
There you go, that's our Nintendo Switch reveal. I guess it wasn't the reveal, we've already seen it, but blowout of sorts. Reactions, that's what they call it.
Criticism,
yeah, it was level criticism. But we'll probably both end up getting them shortly after release or on release.
Sure
there's still time, there's still stuff coming out even today that people weren't sure of and information being clarified, so who knows what will happen in the next few weeks, but we're not far away from it. And we will see you on the next video, because the podcast is dead forever.
Dead, gone.